long one. Let's save time for everyone. This completes my opening comments to you. Ready to read the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor. State of Tennessee, Criminal Court for Hamilton County, 2023. Count 1, the grand jurors upon their oath do present that Jason Chen, on or about the 23rd day of November 2022, in Hamilton County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this indictment, did unlawfully, intentionally, and with premeditation inflict mortal injuries on Jasmine Pace, which resulted in the death of Jasmine Pace on or about the 23rd day of November 2023, in violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 39-13-202, against the peace and dignity of the state.
How does Mr. Chen plead to count 1?
Not guilty.
General?
Count 2. The grand jurors upon their oath do present that Jason Chen, on or about the 23rd day of November 2022, in Hamilton County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this indictment, did knowingly, without legal privilege, physically mistreat a corpse in a manner offensive to the sensibilities of an ordinary person, or disposed of a corpse in a manner known to be in violation of the law, in violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 39-17-312, against the peace and dignity of the state. This indictment, Judge. This indictment was signed by the District Attorney General and was filed with the Clerk of the Courts on March the 23rd, 2023.
How does Mr. Chen plead to count 2?
Not guilty.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is the suitcase in which Jason Chen stuffed the 98-pound body of Jasmine Pace. That's where I'm going to begin the story. Except I want you to remember that as you hear evidence in the next week, that this is not a story like the one that you read in a novel where you have to imagine the appearances of characters. The evidence that you will hear in this case is very real. The evidence will not require that you use your imagination. Jasmine Pace was very real. And Jason Chen really killed her. The suitcase was located in a brushy area just yards from the bank of the Tennessee River and right off of Suck Creek Road. In it was the body of Jasmine Pace, who had been placed in a fetal position inside of 3 black trash bags. Her right ankle was handcuffed to her right wrist. Her left ankle had been shackled to her right arm. Her wounds were extensive. You will hear from Dr. Cogswell, the medical examiner for Hamilton County, who will describe those wounds in great detail. He stabbed her over and over and over again, not 7 times, not 29 times, not 43 times, but 60 stab wounds. One wound, a through and through, from the right side of the neck all the way through the left. Another so deeply penetrated her rib cage that the tip of the knife broke off into her lung. You will see the tip of that knife. The state of Tennessee is required to prove to you 3 elements for first-degree premeditated murder. The first is that Jasmine was intentionally killed. The second is that it was with premeditation. You will hear facts and evidence. You will see photos. You will hear from witnesses that allow you to believe beyond a reasonable doubt that she was intentionally killed and that premeditation was involved. But the third element is that the state of Tennessee has to prove that he did it. I'm going to start from the beginning. The two of them had been seeing each other, Jason and Jasmine. On Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022, the week of Thanksgiving, Jasmine left her home and drove to Jason's apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment where he lived by himself. She was never heard from again after November 23rd. After November 23rd, 2022, her friends and family never heard from her. She never returned home, and she missed Thanksgiving. Like most families would, they knew something was wrong. You will learn that Jasmine's family quickly suspected that Jason Chen had something to do with her disappearance. Despite the family's best efforts to get the police department involved, initially the Chattanooga Police Department was of no help. Jasmine's family was forced to take matters into their own hands. So, on November 26th, 2022, you will learn that Jasmine's family broke into his apartment. You will hear that. You will hear that they were trying to find their daughter and their sister, and that they went in to his apartment. Of course, Jason wasn't there. But what was there? Some of Jasmine's belongings, including her driver's license and her credit cards. You will hear from a mother who was desperate to find her daughter. Eventually, and only because of the relentlessness of Jasmine Pace's family, the Chattanooga Police Department's Homicide Division executed a search warrant at Jason Chen's apartment on November 28, 2022. The missing persons investigation quickly became a homicide investigation when, even despite his best efforts to clean it up, Jasmine's blood was everywhere. Jasmine Pace's blood, upon the execution of the search warrant, was located all over Jason Chen's apartment. It was obvious that Jason had tried to clean it up based on the scene. You'll see those photos. You'll see photos of cleaning products, but you're also going to see video of Jason Chen on November 23rd, 2022, buying cleaning products at multiple locations the same day that Jasmine's friends and family stopped hearing from her. You will learn that homicide investigators located Jasmine's body in this suitcase on the side of Sup Creek Road, in part due to Jason's own cell phone location records. They were able to track Jason using those cell phone location records throughout Chattanooga on the day of the 23rd. Walgreens, Walmart, most likely looking for a place to dump her body. But then eventually, at 6 p.m. on November 23rd, 2022, Jason Chen leaves his apartment with a suitcase. He enters his vehicle and he drives to Suck Creek Road. You will learn of other efforts that Jason took to try to cover his tracks. How he ditched her vehicle in a random apartment complex on Mountain Creek Road so that it was no longer at his apartment building. He sent text messages to Jasmine's phone to try to create an alibi when she was dead inside of his apartment and he was in possession of her phone. You will hear facts of cover-up. You will learn that police never found Jasmine Pace's phone. But they did find her SIM card. The small chip that goes into the side of our phones to store all of our phone's information, her SIM card was located. Where was it? It was in a glasses case inside of Jason Chen's backpack that was in his possession when he was located by the Chattanooga Police Department. And when you think that you have seen enough evidence that Jason Chen killed Jasmine Pace, you will be convinced that he stuffed her body in this suitcase after placing it in trash bags, because you will hear from a fingerprint expert. The fingerprint expert will tell you that Jason Chen's fingerprints were found on the innermost trash bag that surrounded her body. In the first few days of trial, you're going to see a few witnesses that may at first seem confusing to you. Bear with me. They are going to be laying the foundation for evidence that you will see through Chattanooga Police Department Homicide Investigator Zachary Crawford. Over the course of the upcoming week, the state of Tennessee will prove to you beyond any reasonable doubt that Jason Chen handcuffed, sliced, stabbed, packaged, and discarded Jasmine Pace. I ask that you carefully consider this evidence. The state of Tennessee will give you the dots, and we will help you connect them. At the end of trial, I'm going to humbly ask that you find Jason Chen guilty of murdering Jasmine Pace in the first degree and then of using her corpse.